I'm not sure if I'm properly visible. I feel like I'm very dark here. Let me try to find a different spot where maybe I'm a bit more visible. Yeah, I think I'll use this place. But I feel like I'm overexposed here. Ah, sorry. If you're watching this afterwards, my apologies. I'm just trying to make sure that I find the best possible spot in order to do this. Um, so, UFC fight night. Amanda Lemos versus something like that, right? Um, it was a wild card. I feel like it over delivered. It wasn't the card that most people were anticipating to get. But I feel like because of that, the UFC might continue to give us this kind of apex cards because it did better than most people anticipated, and as a result, it might be like a confirmation to the. So I'm going to go through the entire card, and there's I don't know if you follow the channel like completely and fully. There are some few things that I've introduced on the channel, especially specifically on the shorts section of the channel. So basically, let me just before I start going through the entire card and the prediction results. So best parlay was Garcia, Luana, Luana Carolina, and who else? Yeah. But basically, that's what I was. I think on my upsets predictions, I said Garcia. I said Cody Gibson. I said Luana, and unfortunately, I also said Bill Algeo. Right, and he was winning that fight up until he basically gave up when he was hit on the face. Right, but that was like out of that parlay, only one person didn't win. So even if you them individually, you still came out on top. Um, thank you for last week. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. It means a lot. It shows that you actually watch. So I appreciate that. So I've introduced something else. I think you guys. I'll try. I'll see how I'm going to implement it on the live predictions and upsets predictions. So because there were some subscribers in the comment section who were basically asking me to actually give them a percentage as far as how confidently I feel about specific fights. So now officially, if you go to the short section of the channel, there's I've introduced percentages in terms of risky fights. One who was asking me how does that work, so I think maybe I should just explain it right now, even for like my live viewers. So basically, how this works is if I say a fight is, let's say, 51% safe, it means I'm not very confident that it's safe. But for the most part, I feel like that particular person that I've picked will most likely win that particular fight, right? And then if I say a fight is 90% safe, it means that I'm extremely confident that particular fighter will win. Right, I've made this a little bit more convenient on the shorts section. You'll go watch that once we're done with the predictions results. Similarly with risky, so there are two options. It's either a fight is risky or it's safe to basically invest in it if you want to. Right, so that's basically the two things that are important to understand there. So it's either going to be very risky, moderately risky, or very safe or moderately safe based on the percentages, but it's never below 50% because obviously when subscribers vote, they vote in the community section. So I either give them the option between whether a fight is risky or it's safe, right? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can always go to the community section and check specifically what I'm talking about, and even the short section. So I'll try to elaborate this when I do my final predictions and upsets predictions for UFC 304. But let's get to the last fight night card that over delivered. Um, chill out, bro. Thank you, man. I honestly appreciate the words of encouragement, especially coming from someone who actually seemingly watches everything that I do. Not necessarily everything, but it seems like you watch my live videos. And that's the point why I do these live videos. And that's why I introduced the risky and the safe percentages. It's to tell you guys, MMA is one of the most difficult things to predict on the planet, I think, in terms of sport. So when I do these live videos, I'm doing them so that you guys have the opportunity to ask me questions, to grill me if you want to grill me, because you shouldn't just you shouldn't just listen to me telling you that my prediction is Tom Aspinall. Like the purpose of me going live is for you guys to ask me questions, to say why 1 2 3, like ask me, grill me, so that, because ultimately you guys invest money into these things. And even though this is not financial advice, but if you are truly going to be following something that I'm saying, then it's the reason I do these live videos. And even that's another reason why I even go live. Even if I didn't have the best night, I still go live and do prediction results, because I feel like I need to be accountable for every single thing that I do on the channel. I put in a lot of work, and if my work is not showing significant results, I need to be put myself accountable and come back to you guys and tell you how I'm going to improve on that, right? But the most important thing is I go live so that you guys can ask me questions. If I tell you, because for example, right now my prediction for UFC 304 is that Leon Edwards is going to win, and I said he is 51% safe. Aspinall, I feel like he's going to win, and I said he's like 50 something or 60% safe. So those type of things. The purpose of me going live is for you guys to say, "Dude, you said 1 2 3. Why?" So that's why. Like, you shouldn't just listen to what I'm saying, because I don't feel like I'm a to by you guys, obviously, because all 10,000 of you are not just here because you just like seeing my face. Clearly there's something that I say that you find valuable, and obviously for one way or another we benefit from each other. So I feel like you guys are allowed to question everything that I do or say, and that's why I have the subscribers. That's why everything that's done on this channel, I involve my subscribers. um Oru, hi, how are you, man? I remember you asking me to add Spanish to the channel. I'm doing so many things on the channel, and I do everything on my own. But yeah, before I proceed, I would like for everyone to understand that when I go live, it's not just for the fun of it. That's why every single live video that I do, I respond to comments, because whether it's trolling, whether it's insult, whatever it is, because I want to make sure that I hear what you guys are saying. And that's why you see changes like adding risk levels to every single fight, because I listen to what you guys are saying. So ask questions, guys. Like, don't just listen to what I'm saying. Try to grill me and ask me questions as far as why do I feel a specific way about a specific fighter. Otherwise, I would have just done short videos. The purpose of live my decisions. So I'll elaborate on some few things that I've added to the channel. There are some other few things that I'm going to be um, there are some other things I'm going to be adding also to the channel for you guys. I'm going to work extremely hard to make sure that um, you find the most incredible information on the channel. And even as I grade statistics, a part of me feels like the UFC intentionally updates their statistics a bit late, so that, I don't know, it throws off people. This is not like an official accusation, but I just feel like some of the information is inaccurate, right? So I have plans on how I'm going to fix that. Like, just bear with me. Trust me, I have your best interest at heart. Even though maybe sometimes I don't know if you there are people who just like to trash me sometimes, but if you look at my channel, I value my subscribers a lot. Anyway, I've been rambling for a lot. Sven, I hear these. So yeah, chill out, bro, man. I appreciate you thanking. I appreciate you thanking me for the parlays and everything like that. That's what I try to do when I go live. I tell you the fights that I feel a little bit more confidently about. Um, and I was right about. I gave you four that I wasn't sure, but I was like, okay, these are the ones that I feel a bit confident about. And out of those four, only Algio lost. And he gave up. So, but it's not that bad. In any case, let me go through the entire card. Muhammad Usman versus Thomas Peterson. This is one fight that I was like, I felt confident about. Um, I knew that Thomas Peterson would be the better fighter. That's actually what I said. Um, and actually, this whole entire fight, but I'll say everything that I want to say when I get to that particular fight. But the and I'll repeat this until you so people understand this. In my live predictions, a lot of the fights that were so if you watch my upsets video, I actually did highlight the fact that there are certain fights that people should be staying away from, and I was right for the most part. Even the ones that I picked, I was telling everyone, okay, this is going to be risky, and all of them except the Bill Algeo, because the Bill Algeo, but I mean that's 1 out of 4. So I try my best to help everyone to just avoid fights that I feel like are risky, and I even went through the fights that I felt like I would get wrong. For UFC 304, I feel only confident with two: Muhammad Mukayev with Parkin, bro. For me personally, I feel like the Muhammad Mukayev fight is going to be a little bit risky. That's why if you go to the short section and you watch the full card predictions, I've already written that I feel a little bit. I feel like the fight is a little bit risky because Manil Karp is a very good fighter, man. So for me, I think it's one fight that comes to the top of my head that I can say maybe I feel a little bit confident about is the fight with Nathaniel Wood versus whoever's fighting Nathaniel Wood will most likely lose that fight. If ever there's a lock on that on UFC 304, I think it's going to be Nathaniel Wood. But I'll do that when I do my final predictions for UFC 304. But the Mokaev versus Manil Karp is a very dangerous fight too. Actually, it's as dangerous in my opinion, if not more, than the fight between Bobby Green and Paddy Pimblett. So those fights, for me personally, I'd say stay away from them. Manil is my boy, but he's a bit overrated. I don't think he's overrated. Manil Karp is still good. I mean, Mokaev was struggling against, or rather, he struggled in his last fight. Who was he fighting? Brendan Allen, right? So, and I mean, I know Allen is good. No, it's not Mokaev, man. It's a different division. Anyway, let me move on. I haven't prepared. That's why I'm saying nonsense. I said Thomas Peterson would actually win because the only thing that I felt like I didn't feel confident about was his cardio. That's one of the things when I was doing my final predictions and my upsets predictions. That's one of the things I highlighted. I felt like skill for skill, I felt like Thomas Peterson was the better fighter. However, because of the cardio, I wasn't sure how he would look if he came back. And skill for skill, Thomas Peterson won that fight. I was surprised why people felt like Muhammad Usman was the better fighter. But I did say, like both Muhammad Usman, and I said it in my live final predictions and my upsets predictions that I think people, or rather, Muhammad Usman is a middleweight Like his frame is a little. Look at Gerard Cannonier. Like he was fighting at heavyweight, but he only started to excel when he got to what do you call it, middleweight, right? The frame doesn't allow for. See, for example, Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya can fight at heavyweight. His frame, he's tall enough and he can build muscle in such a way that it won't be too heavy for him to actually make heavyweight, and he can compete at a high level. Obviously, Alex Pereira and all this stuff. I feel like the same situation that Mohammed Usman and Mick Parkin are facing was the same situation that what do you call him? Who's this guy at welterweight? Who just beat this Russian dude or Kazakhstan guy? I forgot his name, but after he dropped from what do you call it, middleweight to welterweight, he's been on a tear, right? Joaquin Buckley. Buckley was average at middleweight, right? And now he looks unstoppable at welterweight because he was fighting in the wrong division, and his muscles. Like I don't know why he's fighting at heavyweight. Like that's not his division. So similarly with Mick Parking, I think both of them should just lose weight and just fight at light heavyweight or middleweight. But yeah, I knew skill for skill. Thomas Peterson would actually win this one. Izu would get slumped at heavyweight, man. I doubt, man. I mean, there are no good grapplers at heavyweight, so I don't know if he would actually get slumped at heavyweight. I mean, the only concern for him at heavyweight would be Curtis Blades and maybe Tom Aspinall. And I mean, Israel Adesanya has good takedown defense, so I think he would do decently. Anyway, Luana Carolina versus Ludi Pudilova. This was one of my other locks. I felt pretty confidently that Luana Carolina would actually win this one. My subscribers also picked Luana Carolina. Um, I don't know, man. I felt like she would be a little bit more dominant in that fight. She wasn't. Um, she was the better fighter, but I expected her to do a little bit more than what she did. Right? She still won the fight, and I mean that's the most important thing. She won. I don't know what that says about her standing in the division because I would expect her to actually win a little bit more convincingly. But Almeida. Oh yeah, and Almeida. Yeah, and Almeida as well. I forgot Almeida. Anyway, um, yeah, there was nothing impressive. She won. That she was one of my locks. Yeah, on to the next one. Loic Radzhabov versus Trey Ogden. I told anyone who was watching my final predictions and my upset predictions that this is going to be a close fight, and it actually was. For me, I struggle. I mean, it's close, and I know I normally say that I don't feel bad for anyone who loses a close decision because why do you make it close? But it's confusing, because MMA, or rather in the UFC, they say they judge or they score that at the top is damage, right? And then up next is control. And I don't feel like Trey Ogden did any damage. Um, First round, maybe Trey Ogden won that for one, but the second round, I felt like the person who did a little bit more damage was Radzhabov, right? Even though he got controlled in that round, I think he did a little bit more damage, and even in the third round. So I honestly could have given it to Loic, but like I said, why do you make it so close that the judges have to get involved? Because they're unreliable. So if you rely on the judges, I mean, you deserve to get robbed. Um, so I can't complain about that. But the fortunate thing is, I told my people to stay away from this one. So yeah, but Trey Ogden looked decent. So um, I'm intrigued to see how he performs going forward. Razabov looks like he has a lot of power. I just feel like it's horrible that he got taken down so many times so easily. Anyway, Miranda Maverick versus Dione Barbosa, another one that I told my subscribers to just stay away from, because I knew that this fight, Barbosa was good, and Miranda Maverick acted in her post-fight speech. She acted like she was dominating that fight, and she barely won, and she won by control. She wasn't doing any sort of any type of damage to Dione Barbosa. So I don't feel like that says anything about her ability to become a champion in the future, because I feel like Dione Barbosa is also very good at what she does. So I can't criticize her too much. Just that it's basically what Paddy Pimblett did after getting a robbery decision against Jared Gordon. Like, you can't go on the microphone and act like you were dominating a fight that you barely won, right? So I felt like that's what she was doing. Anyway, uh, it was close like I expected it to be, and that's why I told my subscribers to just stay away from this one. Miranda Maverick won. I feel like Diona Barbosa has a bright future in the UFC. Um, I think these are two decent prospects. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how everything plays out. On to the next one, Brian Kelleher versus Cody Gibson. This was one of my locks, but I was a little bit confused about this one because I felt like I remember saying that I felt the same way about this fight, the same way I felt about the fight between Duho Choi versus Bill Algeo. So I expected, and I remember saying that I was expecting Cody Gibson to actually get a finish. I remember actually specifically saying that I was like, based on what I'm looking at, Cody Gibson should actually finish this fight, and he actually did, right? But one of the things that concerned me was his previous performance, as well as the fact that he was 36 years old. I wasn't really sure because of the age, but I remember saying that based on what I'm looking at, Cody Gibson should actually get a finish, and he did. He looked. It's just sad that he's performing like this at this stage in his career, but hopefully he can get like a couple of decent fights. I don't feel like he's ever going to get any close to the belt, because as years go by, the UFC becomes one of the most difficult places to actually win a title. So winning an interim title should, even the BMF, even though a lot of people don't feel like it's a real title, winning any sort of title in the UFC is one of the hardest things to ever achieve. So I feel bad for Cody Gibson to some extent, because I feel like he's good, but he started to take everything seriously a little bit too late. But nonetheless, an impressive performance. Like, he looked really good, man. He looked really good. So yeah, on to the next one: Jin Yong Lee versus Haida Amil. Um, what did I say about this one? I also remember saying that I wasn't sure about this one, because both of them are good, but man, Haida Amil just came in there and just, I don't know what was happening. It's like Lee was allowing himself to be punched in the face and was not trying to do anything else, man. Props to Haida Amil. He looked sensational in that fight. I honestly didn't see this fight going this way, but I remember telling my subscribers to stay away from this one. I'm glad I did. Um, but props to Haida Amil, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how he performs. Duho Choi versus Bill Algeo. Sadly, this was one of four of my locks, right? This was the only one out of the locks that I actually, out of the fights that I told my subscribers to stay away from, or rather the fights that I felt confidently about was Bill Algeo. And to be fair, he was doing decently well up until I don't know. Does anyone have a medical update of whether or not something was broken? Because if he got punched and he just gave up, then man, it's going to affect his career. The UFC might cut him for that. If he's not injured in any way, I'm sure the UFC will cut him, because that punch didn't rock him. He just folded. If he wasn't injured, this is me saying this, if he wasn't injured. Unfortunately, I haven't had the time to actually check or follow up on whether or not Bill Algeo was injured by that punch. But if that punch didn't injure him, I don't know if Dana White is going to like that. But anyway, it was a good fight while it lasted. Um, this card depressed me because even though it's great that I can give you guys like locks and you can get something from it. For me personally, I need to, but I improved my prediction analysis for this coming card. I feel like I should be getting close to 100%. But I guess we'll just have to see. But for me personally, it's important to get every single fight right that I predict. Anyway, on to the next one: Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva. I like my breakdowns, man. I remember telling my subscribers that I felt like Cody Durden was the better fighter, but I was sticking with my prediction of win, and that's exactly what he did. He found a way to win. Like everything I said on my upsets, on my both my predictions, actually came to pass because Cody Durden was actually better because he was definitely winning that fight. And then my pick, who I said I felt like he would find a way to win, despite the fact that it would be close. Bruno Silva actually won, you know. So I'm glad I told you guys to stay away from this one. This was a wild fight. But yeah, Bruno Silva. I feel like people are overrating Bruno Silva's win. I feel like that was more luck than skill. You know, I don't know how far Bruno Silva can get if he looks like that. I feel like Cody Durden just got caught, and that's how MMA works. It only takes one, you know. But yeah, my subscribers and I got this one right. On to the next one: Kurt Herleborg versus Kaynan Kruchewski. To all my people who are looking at the fight at UFC 304, the main event, right, for UFC 304, the fight between Kurt Herleborg versus Kaynan Kruchewski is important, and I would like to use this because I'm going to forget what I want to say right now, so I'm going to say it right now. I don't know, maybe I'm making the wrong type of comparison, right? But for me, Kurt Herleborg represents Bilal Muhammad, right? And Kaynan Kruchewski, I know he's not on the level of Leon Edwards, but hear me out. I'm trying to get to something here. I feel like Kurt Herleborg had an incredibly strong will to win that fight. To the point that it didn't matter what Kaynan Kruchewski was going to do. Kurt Herleborg was going to make sure that he wins or he gets knocked out, right? And I think that's what's going to happen in the main event of UFC 304. I know, I know. I said it's 51% safe, right? And this is something I normally do on my upsets predictions. But I see. You remember the fight between Juliana Pena and Amanda Nunes? Bilal Mohammed believes in himself so much. I feel like their delusion plays a role into how they fight. It's the same as Juliana Pena. Juliana Pena was getting her ass beat by Amanda Nunes, but she never gave up. She kept on pressuring. She kept on trying to get something to actually win. This is going to do against someone Diaz was able to rock him in the final round of that particular fight. I feel like Bilal Muhammad, if Leon Edwards doesn't finish Bilal Muhammad, I picked Leon Edwards just for the record. I picked Leon Edwards, but I don't know, man. Look at a belief in one, like there's a strong conviction of someone that can take them to the highest level, and I feel like Bilal Muhammad was never that good. He got to where he is because he thinks he's that good, right? And he doesn't just think it. It's not just him being delusional. He goes to the gym and makes sure that his cardio is up. He makes sure that he trains with whoever, even if he's not the most gifted fighter, he's the most he has the most heart, and that heart is not just him having heart. Like, it's backed up by him putting in the work, and I think that's going to play a significant factor in how that main event plays out. So that's the only way I can describe how Kurt Hurleberg won that particular fight. Even hearing his child in the background screaming as a father, I don't think that you're going to be able to give up if ever you are hearing that in the background. And I feel like that's what the only way. And I think Juliana Pena trains with Bilal Muhammad. I feel like they are delusional on the same level, but that delusion is the same delusion that won Juliana Pena the title against Amanda Nunes. And even though Bilal Muhammad, like, I feel like skill for skill, Leon Edwards is better. Bilal Muhammad is 36 years old at welterweight. Statistically speaking, there's no one in recent, like, there's a streak. I think someone said people who are 35 years old fighting for a title are 12 and 0 from welterweight going down, right? So there's never been a person in a very long time. There's never been a person from welterweight going down who's won a title in, I think, about 12 championship fights. And Bilal Muhammad is 36 years old. So that's why I picked Leon Edwards, because everything says Leon Edwards is going to win. But Bilal Muhammad's conviction, guys, yeah, I'll try to elaborate a little bit more. But for me personally, and I wrote it safe because of the skill level of Leon Edwards, but it worries me. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, Kurt Hurleberg won that fight. Kaynan Kruchevsky is a disappointment to the fighting nerds because look at the Caio Borrallo. Who's this other guy? Who's the? I forgot their names, but man, there are so many talented prospects from the fighting nerds, and Kaynan Kruchevsky doesn't look like he is from that gym. I don't know if he doesn't pitch up for training. I don't know what's causing this, but he looks out of place. He doesn't look like he is coming from that gym. Every fighter coming from that gym, you see it in their skill level in the octagon. But Kruchevsky doesn't look like he's training from the fighting nerds. I feel like he's an embarrassment to that gym. Um, anyway, Steve Garcia versus Seung Choi. I want to criticize Steve Garcia for how he fights, but the way that as he climbs up the rankings, because a lot of fighters at the top are clean strikers. Like, they know how to avoid getting hit and they know how to counter. He got the knockout and it was sensational, but at a at a higher level as he climbs up the rankings. But Steve Garcia, I can confidently say, I told my subscribers that Steve Garcia was 100% confident was going to win. I told my subscribers that it was Steve Garcia, and I was right. So I'm happy about that. But the way he fights is too wild, man. The main event, Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. I was pretty disappointed in Amanda Lemos. Um, I expected a little bit more from her. I don't know why, but yeah, I expected a little bit more from her. Um, but yeah, these things help me improve. If you've been following my channel before UFC 300, my picks were not great, man. Like, yeah, my picks were not great. After UFC 300, I made some adjustments, and ever since, my picks have been great. There are weeks where it's not that great, but consistently I've been good, right? So I've made an improvement for UFC 304, right? So we'll see how that goes, but I feel pretty confidently about the improvements that I made. So back to Virna Jandiroba versus Amanda Lemos. Um, I don't want to repeat what my subscribers said, right? Because I don't want to get in trouble. These are not my. One in the comment section said, "Whoever is the ugliest will probably win the fight," right? Um, Okay, I shouldn't have said that. I apologize in future. Because once you become successful, people look at your old videos and try to find things to discredit you. This was not said by me. I'm repeating what my subscriber said. Virna Jandiroba actually performing the way she did, because I honestly felt like the experience that Amanda Lemos got from fighting Zhang Wei Li would actually help her improve. But after seeing what Virna Jandiroba did to Amanda Lemos, it makes me wonder if Zhang Wei Li couldn't finish Amanda Lemos, then what's going to happen when Virna Jandiroba gets Zhang Wei Li onto the ground? It makes me intrigued to see that fight actually, um, and especially at 36 for her to perform like that is incredible. But I'm wondering who's going to get the next title shot. But whatever happens, I'm honestly excited about what's going to happen in the future. Okay, look, guys, I'm going to do my final predictions for UFC 304 on the what do you call it, on Thursday, on Wednesday, I mean, and then the upsets predictions will be on Friday. So I'll see you then. Yeah, I'll see you then, guys. I love and appreciate all of you. Go to the short section of the channel. There's so much useful information, and the community section, because that's where my subscribers get to participate in the channel, in the predictions that we make, or rather the predictions that I make, and whether or not a fight is risky or is safe, and all these other things. So I feel like a lot of people would benefit from actually, sure, sure, from going to the community section and what do you call it, the the short section. There's so much useful information there. I'll see you in the comment section, or Thursday or Wednesday, I mean. And please, again, guys, ask me questions. Don't just listen to me tell you who I think is going to win. If you are going to be using your money and you're going to listen to what I'm saying, question me before you actually make a decision, right? Please, I'm asking you guys, question me. That's why I do these live videos. It's to give you as much information as I can, give you as much perspective of what I feel confidently about. If you don't ask me, then I won't be able to elaborate. And sometimes when you ask me questions, it opens up a different view for me, and I can elaborate a little bit more. So when I do predictions, whether it's final predictions or abscess predictions, ask me questions, guys, because I'm doing this for you.